Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. In the first story, we'll tell you why the neighbors shouldn't have messed with our OP's kids. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Grumpy neighbors ruined my birthday. My dad never let them enjoy their backyard ever again. We're going back a ways here. I think I was 8 years old, so that puts this story in the late 90s. I grew up on a busy street in a suburb. All the houses are basically right next to each other. On one side of the house, we had the grumpiest, most miserable old couple in their 70s as neighbors. We have a big family and enjoyed cookouts during the summer months. They hated us having parties, and we weren't even doing anything out of the ordinary. Just the type of people that would complain about basically anything for no good reason. Well, it's my 8th birthday, and we have our typical big family get-together. Well, my favorite gift that year ended up being a Globetrotters basketball. We had a hoop and had a blast playing around. Eventually, the day goes sideways when my ball bounces over grouchy neighbor's fence. All that separates our driveway/basketball court from their backyard is a stockade fence. Well, a-hole neighbor was outside, proceeds to grab the ball, take it to his shed, and stab it with a screwdriver. I'd never seen my father so angry in my life. But he's not an idiot and didn't do anything stupid. From that day on, he never let them enjoy their backyard ever again. We could see their yard from our house, and anytime they go outside, he'd go out back and crank up his air compressor in the garage and slam the basketball against the backboard as hard as he could until they went inside. Didn't even pretend for a second he was doing anything but making as much noise as possible. He never gave up, never stopped. We take revenge pretty seriously in this family. Thanks, Pops. And our second story. This is a classy store. I seriously don't understand people most days. I work as a part-time ASM for a hat store in the US. Part of our return policy, along with most other stores, is that you have to have a receipt to return the item, and it can't be customized in any way. About a month ago, a man comes in looking to return a hat he supposedly just bought the other day. He'll be DA for dumb butt, and I'll be myself. DA, I'm here to return this hat. Me. Okay, what's wrong with it? Nothing, just changed my mind. Okay, do you have a receipt? No, my friend said this is a classy store and I shouldn't need the receipt. I'm sorry, sir, I can't do a return without a receipt. I can exchange it for you if you'd like a different hat, but I can't give you any money back without it. Well, why not? This is supposed to be a classy store. I'm supposed to get better customer service than this. Again, it's our policy. I can't change it. I can't be sure that you bought it within our time frame, that the hat isn't stolen, or that you didn't get a discount on it. Without the receipt, there's nothing I can do. Well, can I speak to the manager? I am the manager. First time I've ever said this, and it gave me a huge rush. Well, what about your boss? I'm sorry, she's not currently in right now. You're more than welcome to check back later in the week, but she's going to tell you the same thing. Corporate controls our policies. The only one who could even possibly bend the rules is maybe our district manager, but she's on vacation. Well, can you call her? No, sir. I'm not going to bother my district manager for a return. The policy is clear, and I'm not risking my job for you. I can prove I bought it here last week. There was 2 women here, and the white one rang me up. I'd like to point out here that there are only 3 people that work in my store. Me, my store manager, and another part-time assistant manager. Only me and my store manager are white, so essentially this guy just called my store manager a bleep. The entire time I was exceedingly polite, but the moment he called my store manager a derogatory name, I became curt. Me. I wasn't the one to ring you up. I don't recognize your face. I'm not giving you a refund. Now we can do this one of 2 ways. Either you can leave my store and not come back, or I can have you arrested for trespassing and harassment, in which case you'd be completely banned from the mall instead of just my store. Which one are you going to choose? He stormed out cursing and yelling at me, saying he was going to get me fired for threatening him. I still have my job. Didn't even get written up. When I told my store manager what he said, she went off. I don't think I've ever seen her so PO'd. As he walked off, I called out with the biggest grin I could muster, "Have a fantastic day." Oh, so his friend said you were a classy store, so that overrides all other known policies. Glad to know that. And our next story. Parking spot stealing jerk gets his Lexus set on fire. So the year is 2000. I'm living in a crappy apartment over a storefront, so parking was limited. Now, this was the middle of winter, and I didn't have a car at that period in my life, but my girlfriend at the time did. She was coming over in a couple of hours, and finding parking on the street's a gamble, so I wanted to dig out a parking spot for her out of the snowbank in the alley behind my building. I didn't own a snow shovel, so using a hammer, old plastic ice cream bucket, and my bare hands, I dug out a chunk about 3 meters by 2 meters by 2 meters to make room for her to park. I don't know if you can appreciate how much snow that is, but it was a lot of work, especially considering my lack of proper equipment. This isn't fresh fallen snow either. This is a snowbank packed by a plow. Practically ice. But whatever, we do crazy things for love, right? But apparently I had too much faith in humanity. I thought the cardboard sign I left in the newly cleared parking spot that said, "I spent an hour and a half digging this out for someone specific, please do not park here," would be enough. Nope. Wouldn't be writing this if it had been. Naturally, some thunder sea of a Lexus owner threw the sign in the dumpster and stole the spot. I remember it was red. I hadn't told my girlfriend about my plan to dig out the parking spot, mostly because I didn't want to look like a wuss if it was too much work and I gave up, so I just stewed on it, imagining all the things I could do. My girlfriend ended up finding a spot on the street a block away, and we had a good evening anyway. She had to work the next day, so she took off around 2 a.m., and I stayed up until maybe 4 a.m. The car was still there, and I was still PO'd. By this time, all the bars were closed, the neighbors were asleep, and the streets were quiet. Couldn't ask for a better opportunity to ruin someone's crap. I went outside with a bottle of anhydrous isopropanol I kept around as a solvent, doused the car's tires, and set them on fire. I nabbed the cardboard sign from the dumpster and used it to quickly scrape the snow and cover my tracks, then took it back inside with me. No point leaving evidence behind. Over the course of the next few minutes, I heard bang, kapow, blam, boom, as the tires burst one by one. I'd honestly expected the whole car to go up in flames, but each burst was apparently forceful enough to put out each individual tire, as well as blast out a sizable divot in the snowpack. Nothing happened until the next day, but police were eventually called. They were knocking on doors, asking if anyone saw something. Nope, sorry, must have slept right through it. Good luck, officer. Hope you catch the guy. I turned on my police scanner to keep tabs on things, mostly out of fear of getting caught, but there were no witnesses, and I learned the owner only had liability insurance. What kind of idiot buys a Lexus but not full coverage? I'd soon find out. When I went outside to survey my handiwork under the guise of taking out the trash and being a curious resident, oh man, yeah, that guy was going to need to get his whole car resprayed. The car looked fine structurally, but I did probably more than $2,000 worth of cosmetic damage, not to mention needing 4 new tires. I also got a look at the guy who owned the car, and the image I'd created in my head of what a person would look like that would so unapologetically steal someone's hard work was completely accurate. He was a grade A, first-class, board-certified textbook D-bag. Orange fake tan, way too much hair product, leather pants, weapons-grade douchery. A decade before Jersey Shore was a thing. I regret nothing. Never saw that car again, got away scot-free. And our last story. Get rid of my vacation? Have fun replacing me. I work at a company that gave out exorbitant amounts of vacation. Anyone who worked there for 25 plus years received 8 weeks of vacation and 2 weeks of personal time. This was a family-owned company, but rather large. We ran 3 shifts totaling 250 plus people. Enter Jimmy. Jimmy was a grizzled old man. He started at the company when he was just 20. Now he was 63 and gave absolutely zero craps. Jimmy also knew how to make a specific part for our product. Him and one other higher up in the office. One day, the plant owner comes out and announces he's selling to a corporation. He's older and ready to retire. He promises that there will be very little change and wishes us all well. The new company comes in and immediately goes after many of the great benefits we had. The first thing they do is cut everyone's max vacation down to 4 weeks. We do completely away with personal time. Anyone who's maxed out had until December 31st of that year to use it up, and they wouldn't pay it out. They then go to the office and clean house, firing anyone who's close to retirement, including Jimmy's backup. But they also do away with one very important rule. You no longer have to get vacation approved, you can just call in and take it. Jimmy's pissed, and they know it. They realize he's the only one in the building that can do his job now, so they hire a new kid for him to train, most likely to permanently replace Jimmy. So Jimmy does what anyone would do. He calls in the first training day for the new hire and lets us know he's going to use all of his PTO at once and promptly takes 10 weeks off. We had a backstock of parts he'd made, so it wasn't too unnerving. But for 10 weeks, Jimmy went and applied to other jobs, found one, and started. Fast forward 10 weeks, it's the day Jimmy's supposed to return, he doesn't. For 2 days, they try calling him and even go to his house. He's nowhere to be found. Finally, on day 3, he calls and resigns, and they lose their crap. The parts he makes are specialized and patented by the original founder. You can't just hire someone off the street to make them. What eventually happened was they had to contract the original owner to come in and teach some new hires how to make them, and when he found out what all they'd done, it pissed him off. Last I heard, he charged them a 7-figure contract to teach them how to make the parts, and they had to pony up or close down. Moral of the story, don't F with people's vacation time. Edit. Jimmy made an electronic control module that was sealed and stayed fixed in a poured unit made of a 2-part epoxy. Edit 2. Jimmy didn't exactly miss out on a 7-figure contract and had zero chance to take one. He left, said F him, and moved on. When they contacted the previous owner and explained the situation, it was basically, "You need my help? It'll cost you $1 million" type conversation. Save a dime to pay 7 figures. Great model by most companies. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.